Hey Brent, welcome to sunny Florida.
This is amazing. We're right on the water. We have paddle boards. We have a boat. We can go to Disneyland. What are we going to do first?
Well, so here's the thing. I brought you to Florida because I have a friend who needs a deck. So I thought, let's build him a deck.
I love building decks.
But you're so amazing. Why stop with just a deck? Let's add a palapa.
Okay.
And maybe a tiki bar.
Anything else?
Why not an outdoor kitchen?
How about we throw some turf in there too?
Ooh, that's a perfect idea. And some outdoor furniture. Do you think we could do this?
What's the timeline?
7 days.
Okay, I need to call some friends.
Okay, let's call some friends and make it happen.
Done.
This episode is sponsored by Simpson Strong Tie. Building strong.
Hi, I'm Rachel Petras with Makers All-Star Challenge.
And I'm Brent with BYOT.
And welcome to the very first Makers All-Star Challenge. Now you might be wondering, what is the Makers All-Star Challenge?
It's a group of builders and creators that come together and do one amazing makeover. I cannot wait to take on this challenge, and it's going to be an absolute marvel in the end.
True. So we invited friends from all across the country to come and join us to see how much can we accomplish in a short amount of time. So as we challenge ourselves, we are going to show you guys how to do it too.
Can't wait. We have 1 week to do this amazing backyard renovation. We have a deck, railing, turf, palapa, an outdoor kitchen, and we only have 1 week to do it. Can we? Let's find out. So we got busy already today with the demolition portion of this project, taking care of this old railing. But now we actually need to make sure that our footing locations are in the correct location, which is why we need to make sure that our cross-dimensional measurement across this large 44-foot span is accurate. That's why we're going to go off of this area, which is where our ledger board is going to be going, and then 10 feet past to where our footings are going to be placed. We are still digging forms. Well, it's late out and it's dark. But you know what? That's what we have to do when we have concrete coming in the mornings. You know what? I must say, this still looks pretty straight even in the daylight. Right, Pat?
Not bad. Calling that a win.
With construction, you have to be a problem solver because we ran into a few stumps in the digging process, which took this project from a 3-hour job to a 9-hour job, which is why we were spending the entire night digging footings. But luckily, we got those done, and now we're just pouring and compacting our crushed rock for a proper base for our concrete footings to sit upon. So we're gonna get that done before the cement shows up, hopefully. Now, we just have to wait for concrete. And guess what? It just arrived. So we're out here on day 3, and luckily I have some helping hands today besides just me and Pat. And yesterday we actually poured all of our concrete footings. They're perfectly dry to the point we're gonna take off our forms. So let's get to the ledger board, which is extremely important because we're gonna be attaching that to the existing structure, and that's gonna take a considerable amount of weight load off of our deck. Let's get to it.
All right, so what we got here, as you can see, we've got our marks right here. We're actually going to be working the best we can to tie this deck into the top of these pavers with the top of our deck. So what we're doing now is actually getting the height for our ledger board. But what this does is make sure that ledger board and put on is nice and level all the way across. That's why you see us snapping this line all the way from end to end. So this is the start. This is how we get a nice and flat deck. This is that first level mark. So here we go. Let's get it done.
This is a very exciting step right now because we are finally getting to lumber and inserting our very first post into our post bracket. Now we're setting these up, making sure that they're perfectly level all the way down, while we're also making sure that we're attaching our ledger board. And once our ledger board is attached, we'll use our laser to determine exactly the right height that we need to cut every single one of these posts. Easy enough in theory. The ledger board is one of the most important parts of the deck because this is actually attaching to an existing structure. Sometimes it's attached to your home, which is why we use Z flashing, but in this case, because we're attaching it to a concrete structure, we're going to be using these spacers behind the ledger board so moisture doesn't get trapped behind it and then potentially rot our ledger board. So let's get it installed.
Let's get to work, boys. Alright, so what we're doing right here is we're actually drilling this ledger board into the concrete. We got our biggest, toughest worker right here drilling this bad boy in, half-inch bit, 6 inches into this concrete. We're slapping on these big, beefy bolts to lock this ledger down nice and secure so this deck won't ever go anywhere.
So we had a huge win in our project today because we determined that our deck joists are perfectly level. And how did we do that? We used a laser level to cross over to our posts and we cut them to size. Now, because we have our post, our beam, and then our joists, we have a perfectly level surface on top. Now we just have to cut our beams. It's been a very productive day here with the whole team here, and guess what? We got to our ledger board, we got to our post and our beam, and we even got to the kitchen and some of the sod removal. Tomorrow's gonna be a busy day with the fact that we need to do joists, but till then we can get some rest.